So one of the most controversial things in NASCAR is without a doubt its playoff system, which has been in place for quite some time now, but whether it needs to change or not is the subject of a lot of debate in NASCAR. For my money, something closer to what we used to have with the chase system back in the 2000s and early 2010s would be more fair in my opinion, but I know that not everybody was a fan of the chase either. Some people want to go back to the original format where there's no playoffs, where every single race is effectively equal, and I understand the arguments for that. Now apparently NASCAR is considering a change in the format for the playoffs for the 2026 season onwards. So let's have a look at this, guys. Full article on the Motorsport Reports. Let's see what the NASCAR governing body are saying about the playoffs. NASCAR officials announced during a recent competition briefing that while the playoff format will remain unchanged for the 2025 season, the sanctioning body is open to exploring potential changes for the 2026 campaign. The 2025 season is set to kick off with the exhibition Cookout Clash at Bowman Gray Stadium on Sunday, the first NASCAR event at that ground, actually, that racetrack, in over 50 years, I believe, and we will be previewing it here on the NASCARchronicle.com as well. John Prost, NASCAR's Executive Vice President and Chief Racing Development Officer, emphasized the importance of avoiding frequent minor adjustments to the playoff system. He said, and I quote, "I don't think that we want to get in the habit of making small little tweaks every season to the playoffs," end quote, Prost stated. Instead, NASCAR plans to assemble a working group consisting of media members, OEMs, Goodyear, the tire supplier, and drivers to examine the playoff structure holistically throughout the year. The decision to maintain the current format for 2025 comes amidst ongoing discussions regarding eligible championship contenders, with defending champion Joey Logano advocating for the existing system following his victory at Phoenix Raceway in November 2024. I wonder why, Joey. I wonder why. For those that aren't aware, I think if you took the whole points throughout the entire season in 2024, Logano was about 15th, I think, overall, the lowest ever champion, effectively. But if you're in, you win. Even if you're not the best throughout an entire season, if you're the best through the playoffs, you will win the entire championship, which a lot of people don't think is fair, and I understand why. Prost acknowledged the varying opinions among fans, ranging from those who would love the playoffs to those who would believe certain drivers should automatically qualify based upon their performance. While no specific changes have been proposed and alterations for the 2026 season are not guaranteed, NASCAR is committed to gathering input from key stakeholders to determine if any modifications are necessary. "We just didn't get to a point where we felt like we have to," Prost explained. "But we have heard the fans loud and clear and are looking at it actively." In a November State of the Sport address, NASCAR President Steve Phelps and Chief Operation Officer Steve O'Donnell reaffirmed the sanctioning body's commitment to the playoff system while remaining open to potential tweaks. "We are not going away from the playoffs," O'Donnell stated. "We will absolutely look at what the form the playoffs take in the off-season. You always learn. But playoffs in of itself, as Steve said, you cannot argue with the quality of racing that the playoffs have delivered. They have been dramatic. Let's not... Fair is the questionable part, but dramatic it definitely has been, in my opinion. The current 16-driver, 4-round elimination format, which determines the NASCAR Cup Series champion, has been in place since 2014, with the most recent significant change being the introduction of stage racing and playoff points in 2017. The Xfinity Series and the Craftsman Truck Series have employed a similar format since 2016. As NASCAR continues to evaluate the effectiveness of its playoff system, fans and industry members alike will eagerly await any potential changes that be implemented for the 2026 season and beyond. So yeah, a lot to go through there. I mean, I've given my thoughts about the playoff system in NASCAR. I did that towards the back end of last year, kind of in a response to Joey Logano winning the championship, which of course the rules allowed him to do so, but a lot of people were saying that it's not fair, and I understand that viewpoint. It's really tough. It's really tough with NASCAR because NASCAR wants, and rightfully so, wants every single race in the NASCAR Cup Series to be important for the championship, to have some bearing on the championship. championship, and the only way to absolutely 100% ensure that is to have a final race in the playoffs for the final round, which determines the champion. Even having the old chase system, in theory, you could have a scenario where someone has won the championship before the final race, usually in Phoenix. Obviously, back in the day, it was at Homestead in Miami, of course. So yeah, it's a tough one. NASCAR wants drama throughout. They want every race to be important, and I understand that viewpoint from a financial and a shareholder's point of view, but some people think that it's a bit gerrymanderish to gerrymanderish, I mean, that's a word I've just kind of made up there, but gerrymandering is basically where you kind of manufacture things. It's artificial, that's what I'm trying to say. It's very hard to ensure that without making it a gimmick, effectively, and that is arguably what the playoffs have become. And like I said, Logano won a race in all the first 3 rounds, and then obviously I think he actually won the final race at Phoenix, or at least was the highest placed driver at the end. And that effectively means if you win 5 races throughout the NASCAR season at certain points, in specific points, you will be going through as the champion. You will win the championship in that scenario. And in the rest of the races, in the other 35 or so races throughout the season, effectively you can just be rubbish. You could be terrible. I mean, you won't be because you're winning races, but it is not unrealistic to see a scenario where Logano or someone else has a similar season to what Logano had in 2024 and becomes champion. And I totally get it. I totally get it, man. I totally get why people are annoyed. Personally, for me, I'd go back to the old chase format. 10 races like we have now in the playoffs, but there's no rounds or anything like that. The best 10 drivers, well, the best 12 drivers, and the best of those drivers, they win the championship from them 10 rounds. I feel like that is more representative. It's still a little gimmicky, of course, though, and it's very difficult to go back to the old. I don't ever see us not, going back to the old system without playoffs. From a marketing point of view, NASCAR will always want that. They will always want that final race decider. So, or at least they'll want the playoffs. So, what do we do, guys? Let us know in the comments what you think. I want to hear your viewpoints on this. It is a very controversial issue, and I don't feel like there's a perfect solution. We've just got to try and make the best of what we can. But what is that situation? What is the best format for a NASCAR end of season playoffs? Would you even have the playoffs if you had the choice? Your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, keep it subscribed here to the NASCARchronicle.com to see much more content just like this on the world of NASCAR as always. And of course, check out Motorsport Reports as well. We've got plenty of articles there from the world of motorsport, not just NASCAR, but other racing series as well, including IndyCar, Formula One, and the World Endurance Championship, as well as WRC and Formula E2. Plenty of stuff on there. See you soon, guys. Have a good one.